What is up, YouTube? Johnny B here again today, and we're going to be installing a wide body kit on a 2019 Toyota Corolla. This is going to be something really different because we've never done this before, and it's kind of rare to see these cars done with a wide body kit. I believe the kit is a carbon pixel that we're going to be installing. It's supposed to be for a 2013, so the design's a little bit different. We're going to have to modify it just to make it fit. They don't really make a wide body kit for this car, but that's probably going to be the closest one that you can get to it. So we're going to be, having to modify it a little bit to get it to fit properly, but this is going to be an interesting one. This car is on air suspension, so it's going to look pretty cool. After we're all done with the wide body kit and everything, it is going to be wrapped. It's not going to be painted, so it's going to be taken somewhere else. So at the end of the video, you guys are going to see it, with the black over fenders. But I think it's going to be pretty interesting. The car has a bunch of little spoiler added effects. It's got some wrap to make it stand out at car shows and stuff like that. And it also has a big wing, as you can see in the background. So let's get started. Let's start chopping some fenders. So here we have the pieces. This is all excess. This is probably just whenever they do the molds, they have this excess here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete it. We're gonna leave a little bit because we need some sections to be bolted on. But this part here is what touches the body, so this needs to be cut off and probably give it a nice little shape. Same thing with this piece. We're gonna cut it as well, and then we can match it up with a little bit of grinding. And just like that, those pieces are cut. Now I'm gonna go ahead and bolt them together, and then we can go ahead and shave them down even more to make them fit properly. So here we are with the finished product. I needed to smooth that part out since that part is what's going to be touching the body of the car. Down here, not too much, but this is what's going to be holding the pieces together apart from them being bolted onto the car. So now we can go ahead and test fit. So my goal is to have great fitment. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is line it up with the door as best I can. You can see a little bit of the white sections there of the fender. The way it curves, it's a little bit different, but it's it's almost there, pretty close. And then the body line is right there, so I'm going to put it right on the body line, put a bolt right in that corner, put a bolt in that corner, and then from there go and decide where we're going to fit the rest of the kit. So I think as long as this is perfect and the door opens, I think I'm gonna be happy with that. So I was able to get both of the screws on, and it's lining up pretty good here. It's a little bit of a gap, but if I go down any lower, then it's not going to line up with this, and this is the main goal here. And if I go down any lower, I might not have enough to line it up, because right now it seems to be lining up pretty good up here with the front part. You don't want it to be too stuck in or too stuck out. So I'm happy with that. For being a kit that doesn't line up properly, because this line is supposed to be the fender to bumper line, but you can see it's way over here because this is a 2019 instead of a 2013. This is supposed to be the headlight section, which is off as well, but it works. So here it is with the over fender fully installed and bolted down. Look at that, it's looking super good. The fitment on it is nice and clean. There's no gaps in between it, so that's awesome. That's usually really hard to do, especially with the plastic kits or the ABS kits. All we have to do is take these measurements, figure them out, and do the other side. And here we are. There is the other side, all done, looking good. Let me zoom out so we can get a clearer picture of what the car looks like with its wider stance. Actually, it looks pretty good. I think with the tire there in that spot, you can kind of get an idea of how it's going to look like. You can see there's a lot that needs to be cut. This car is on air suspension, so we need to go ahead and figure out how low it goes, figure out where we need to cut, and then obviously we're going to cut the excess inside there and there, because you don't want to be able to see your old fender, so it's going to need to be cut somewhere around here and get all that material removed, so that way when the wheel sticks out, it's not going to be rubbing on the fender, especially if he airs out. There won't be any issues with that. I'm going to go ahead and test fit the rears now, and once I have all the fitment properly, I can go ahead and remove these. Since we're gonna have bolts already, bolt holes in the spot, I know that I'm not gonna be allowed to cut past bolt holes, because then it's gonna be visible. For the rears, I went ahead and did the same thing. I was able to connect all of this together to make sure that it was all lining up properly. One of the biggest issues I had is with the door. The door on the 2013 is more of a straight shot, than it is on the 2019. So here you can see this little curve that it has here on the door. So this is probably the only way, because I needed to get it as close as possible here to the door, and then same thing down here on this bottom piece, and I had to ignore that curve. But we got it to fit. You know, the fitment is looking good. We got this section back here to line up as well. The next step is to go ahead and cut out the fender. I went ahead and removed the body kit. Obviously, we mounted it first so we could see that the fitment was good. And then after that, we know that we can't go past these bolt holes right here, because then it'll be visible. So we're going to cut everything underneath. This car is on air suspension, so I had to air it out and kind of draw a similar line to where the body kit ends. You see there's some lines that I marked there. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and make like an arc. That way, when the wheel is out here, it's not going to be smashing onto the fender. This wheel is probably about like that far in. So if we were to bring the wheel out, it would smash onto that. So we want to cut a little bit extra. I don't know how far the air suspension goes, so I'm going to always cut a little bit extra, but not more than what the body kit covers. It's all open under there. Went ahead and painted with some rust resistant paint. So that way, if you're not in a state like I am, like of Arizona, we don't really have a rust issue, but I still like to paint it to make sure that it doesn't start oxidizing, you know, with some rain or something, when the tires pick up water and like fling it up. Also, I like to leave the OEM inner fender liner. I just chop off like the excess that kind of curves down, because I aired out on this car and the suspension kind of just touches the top of this, so I like to leave that section there. So I'll just chop off the excess that kind of like overhangs, just so there's still some protection under there, because we would have to make like a custom inner fender liner for the wide body kit if that were the case, but it's not. So I usually tend to leave it there, or leave just sections that are needed, so that they're not going to be rubbing. And then I blacked out like all the sections that you're going to be able to see. So like this part right here, you were going to be able to see when I put the kit, but now that I blacked it out, obviously it's still drying. It's gonna like disappear, so you're gonna look at it from this angle, and you're not gonna be able to see, you know, the white bumper through the body kit, which is what you want. You want everything underneath to just disappear and blend in. So a flat black is usually the color that I go with. So here we are with the way it's fitting. It's looking pretty good. And then you can see in there, it's kind of like blacked out, so you can't really tell, especially when there's like no light hitting it. Obviously I have the light directly hitting it, so let's say I put it this side, and then look at that. You can't even see what's going on inside of the over fender. So that little bit of black paint really helps out to kind of hide everything. Now we just gotta go do the rears. Here we are with the next step. I grinded down the section here that got cut. Obviously that's already attached, but the rest of it needed to be kind of slid and brought up. So this material was the one that was kind of hanging all the way down here. Folded it up. I go ahead and tack weld it, and then we're going to cut all those off, seal it all up, paint it black. That way we don't have any, you know, issues with rust. And it's pretty much what gets done. So I'm going to go ahead and chop that off, sand it down, cover it up with the glaze. This side, I believe I have not welded yet. Yep. So this is just when they've been cut, and then I grind them down at the top, so that way when I bring it to the next material, they're both grinded down, so it's easier to weld. Here we are with the cuts and the welds. You can see there how it's cut underneath, and over here it's welded. I shaved it down, and then we're going to go ahead and glaze it now to seal all that stuff up. You need to cut wherever, when the wheel comes out, wherever it's going to impact on whatever car you're doing, because that's the whole reason for the cut, so that the wheel doesn't rub or touch the quarter panel or the fender. Normally after I weld, I like to seal it all up, and I use this glaze material. It's like a really hard type of like material that you use after Bondo, usually for, it's called like a finishing glaze. And then I go ahead and seal the parts where I had slitted. But in this case, this car had some underbody like coat thing that's like soft rubber. So that wouldn't work because it wasn't going to be applied properly and it's going to take forever. So I decided to seal up the cracks with this stuff. It's just it's called grade stuff, I guess. Gaps and cracks. So I just went ahead and kind of like sprayed it right into like the areas where I slit, letting it dry. And then after it's dry, I'm gonna go ahead and shave it down. And then I went ahead and bought some bed liner, which is what we're gonna be using to cover all this up, which is gonna be very similar to the material that's in here already. Unfortunately, with 4-door cars, you can't really make the wheel arc perfect to where, you know, the wheel's not going to interfere. So in this case, the wheel will touch this spot when the car goes, you know, air it out. When it's just driving normally, it's not going to have any issues, but when it airs out, it's pretty much going to be hitting the door, because that's where the door piece goes. So that's unfortunately, that's all we can do in a 4-door car. If it was a 2-door car, obviously we can go ahead and cut a lot more, and then this would be one piece instead of being 2 pieces here with this little door piece. While that's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and mask off the top. That way when I go to apply the bed liner, I'm not gonna get it all over the car. All right, so now that the foam is dried, you can see a bunch of it on the floor. I went ahead and cut it off. And now I'm gonna go ahead and coat this whole section with, I'm gonna be using some truck bed coating. You can also use underbody coat. I've had a little bit better luck with this one, getting a bit better of a rubberized seal. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it with this one. So I got it all painted and sealed up. So that's looking good. Gonna go ahead and peel this off. Looking much better, a nice clean line. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down so I can remove the part of it that goes into the door. So now that the bed liner has dried, or whatever other method you use to seal it up or to just paint it over so that it won't rust, we can go ahead and put the body kit back on. So it's gonna be probably the easiest part because the body kit's already been on once before. And then let's hold it there. Get a bolt in. There we go, got the first bolt in. Go on to the next one after this. And this hardware is just like, it could be temporary hardware or you can leave this hardware on forever. It's up to you. This is usually the same hardware that comes with the Rocket Bunny kits. You could also buy it at Home Depot. I believe it's like a panhead screw. It's a size 8 and it's 3/4 of an inch long. And if you decide you want to go with different hardware, all you have to do is remove these, the holes, everything else is already made, so it already all lines up perfectly. So all you have to do is put riv nuts into the body and then use, you know, actual bolts or just whatever you decide you want to do. You know, you can change it up. It's just much easier to install the kit with this hardware versus any other hardware. So here we are with the wide body kit for the Corolla. It is now fully installed. The only thing now that he needs to do is get some upgraded wheels or spacers, you know, depending on what he wants to do. He's probably gonna go with some spacers for now, and then, you know, save up some money so you could buy, you know, wheels that are gonna be able to fit this, because these require 3 inches more than whatever the stock setup is or whatever the current setup is. They're literally 3 inches wider than whatever the wheel needs to come out. So it's gonna be difficult getting fitment specs for a car like this, because there's not really another Corolla around out there that's on wide body, right? Or at least that I've seen. I'm sure there's some out there, maybe like 1 or 2, but they're kind of rare to see. And, you know, it looks cool. I mean, it makes it look cool. It's, you know, going from a normal like family economy sedan to, you know, a little full-on show car that he likes to take to car shows and stuff like that. So yeah, let me show you guys around, you know, and that's gonna be the end of the video. You guys got to see a little bit of the life of Jonny trying to install wide body kits for people. So yeah.